Hey folks, welcome to the show. My name is Nemo. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a producer and mover and activist in Oakland. And one thing that sits on my desk that you don't know about maybe is this little guy, Alebrije. This is very cute. Something more about me. My guest today is a good new friend, Diana Gameros. Diana Gameros is a singer-songwriter born in Ciudad Juárez in Mexico and who now lives in the Bay Area. She is a wonderful singer. She has an amazing voice. She has released two full albums over the last number of years, and her music has been featured on NPR Tiny Desk. KQED did sort of a short film about her. She's been featured on Mother Jones. Her music often tells stories about home, about migration, and about family. And I'm very fortunate to be working with her on a new little project with some Mexican boleros. Okay, great. So, first question. Do you have a morning routine? If so, what is it like?
Usually when I wake up, I do like a gratitude. I try to name a few things that I am grateful for, and then I light up a candle, and then I go to my coffee booth, and and lately it's actually been a really nice ritual for me to just like to make coffee because I have my dad's photo there with like a little miniature. There's like a miniature thing of sugar. He loved sugar. So for me, coffee time is kind of like a moment to reflect on my dad. He recently passed away. And so yeah, it's kind of making coffee for me has become sort of a meditation too. Um, and then I try to get in some reading, like sometimes, like a half hour if I can. I try to get up early enough that I can like you know do an hour of reading, just like a book or a magazine, something that is not like on the phone.
Mm,
um and then I do a little bit of yoga, and then I'm ready to start my day. It's kind of a long,
nice.
but yeah, I feel like those are the things that I sort of feel like I have to do it, like I have to have them in my system before I start my day.
If you could make or play a song with anyone, alive or not, who would that be and why?
I would love to do something with Gaetano Veloso, and people are like, "Wow, really?" Like, because I don't even listen to him that much, but I like the things that some of the things that I just love how passionate he is, and like the way he uses his voice. And the main reason is because he's getting old, right? And like he's
Mm,
probably gonna pass away soon. And so like, because most of the people that I would want to do something with are dead. Like another person I would have loved to to have sung with is Mercedes Sosa, or write a song maybe with like Simon Diaz, Venezuelan uh, um, composer or songwriter, and or Violeta Parra, to write a song with any of those two. So they're all dead, and so Caetano Veloso is kind of heading there, heading that way, because there's so many. There's so many
right.
that I wish. Uh,
How do you stay connected to the music when you're uninspired?
well, sometimes I don't. I'm like, I don't. If I'm not, if I, unless it's a commission or I have something, then, I get back to it. Usually listening to other music really helps.
Hmm.
It sounds funny, like I should be inspired, but sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I really don't want to hear music. And actually, it happens to me a lot. And sometimes, I mean, I feel like I need silence a lot, just probably as much as I need music and sound. And so
I like
a
that
lot
a
of the
lot.
times, yeah, like sometimes I really just need complete introspection without the influence of music, because I feel
Hmm.
like music is so powerful that it can really influence emotions, right? That may not even be where you should be going, or I don't know. You can be influenced so easily, right? And so I like to give myself time for introspection without the influence and emotionality of the music, right?
What is something you learn how to say no to that has changed your musical career?
Well, sad thing about this question is I don't think I've learned how to say no. Somehow I've been fortunate to receive only requests or like to be most of the requests I get are so attractive and so that it's hard for me to say no. I have somehow all the things that I get requested for um, are usually pretty cool, and so it's hard for me to say no, but I have to say no because I can't do it all. I mean, I feel like I already have enough with the projects I have, but still I get in trouble a lot as far as being um como se dice, yeah, being able to deliver, or like to have a successful collaboration and timely. And I mean, we've been wanting to put out, these songs with you, and it's taken forever.
How do you define success for yourself in music?
I I think for me is if I'm enjoying what I'm doing, like if in the moment that I sit down and do music or record or write or perform or dream up music or strategize, like I have to like I have to feel it. And if or like I have to feel happy. And to me really that's it. Like um and if in turn people feel inspired or moved or ignited to do their own art or to take action on something, whether it's artistic or just personal, um yeah, then I really feel I've succeeded. Like I and you can probably tell by going to like my social media and like my YouTube channel, like I I don't work very hard to like try to get my numbers up, and because I probably should, right? But it really I just I'm not just a musician, I'm a human being, and I really just want to have a happy life. And so usually, yeah, like if whenever I'm making music, I am happy and I am inspired and I'm really feeling what I'm singing, that's my success for me. For me also too is if I can do music and still live a life, because that to me is super important. If I can still live a life, if I can still like talk to my grandma every day on the phone and read with her and have time to check on my family and visit them, that's all I need, really. The bigger stage or the million views, it's
Right.
irrelevant to me.
What is a go-to song of yours that motivates you or inspires you?
I think I have different ones depending on the mood that I love, that really like puts me in the gratitude, in the hopeful mode, is Nina Simone's Ain't Got No I Got Life.
Oh, I don't think I know this song.
Yeah, she goes around like and describe in the song like all the things that she doesn't have. Ain't got no money, ain't got no fame, ain't got. It's like a prayer almost, right? But then she starts como enumerar, like to enumerate all the things that she does have, and she goes like, but I got my fingers, got my legs, got my hair, got my. I love that song because it's like, for me, like one of the I think the best therapies for in my life, and something that I've learned from my grandmother too, um, is like really like enumerate, or como se dice, enumerar the
Yeah.
things you have. It's such a cliche thing, like, oh, count your blessings.
Right.
No, really, like
Right.
enumerate them. Like number one, this finger. Number two, this one too. I mean, have you ever had a cut in one finger, especially as musicians or as guitarists, right? One cut in one finger, like it.
Changes
You don't
everything.
have one finger, and it changes everything. But then I've also been listening to my friends, Kendra McKinley, Face to Face. It just puts me in a happy, bubbly mode. And my friends, Luz Elena Mendoza from Y La Bamba, I don't know if you know her.
Mm-mm.
Ojos de Sol. It's just like a beautiful honey like song. I've been listening to Beethoven's Piano Sonata number 1, and then mi queridísimo Simón Díaz. I also listen to Patrick Watson a lot.
How do you avoid getting caught up in other people's definitions of music success?
I think for me it's been really important to not get caught up with thinking that music is all there is in my life. Music has played such an important role in my life, and and I feel like it's the place that I go to. It's healing, it's nourishing, right? However, it's not all that there is for me that makes me feel alive and joyful and uplifted, right? And so I think that's why I think this probably also relates to that other question. I think it's because I have it very clear, that statement is very clear to me. That's not what defines me. Yes, I'm a musician and it's a big part of my life. And I almost think of music as a lover, right? In fact, or like as many lovers, in fact, I feel like at some point, I used to tell my partner that, like, I needed so much time because I felt like my guitar was a lover, my piano was a lover, my notebook was a lover, my books, that get me inspired, were a lover. Like my my studio, like I needed to spend time, and like craft and grow and understand them, and so it was kind of a sometimes it's hard because like sometimes it's hard to maybe I'm going on a segue, because like sometimes it's hard for me to be or to really explain how much music takes up in my life, right? And because of this fact, it's so easy for me to think that this is all my life is. But I think lately it has been very clear to me that being a musician is not all that I am. And so for me, family lately, I think ever since I got my green card and I was able to go and visit my family in Mexico and really be with them in their environment. Ever since I moved to the United States, the way that I would experience my family was through them coming here, us doing touristy things, and and so something changed for me, having been able to go back and meet my mom's friends, look at her house, like live in her house, meet my brother's students, like just to see them go about their day. I just feel like I've fallen in love with my family even more.
Oh, wow.
My sister, it's like, and the way in which they live, I learned so much that for me, I feel like I've less and less gotten caught up with this thing that you say, like with, the music success. I want to be a successful human being. I want to be a successful daughter. I want to be a successful sister. I want to be a successful auntie. And so I think that helps me not get caught up in the definition of music success, and
if you had to make an album using only 2 instruments, what would you choose?
Instruments that I can play, I think it would be piano and voice, because I have never made one. I play piano and have not necessarily recorded a lot with it, so yeah.
What piece of advice would you give to aspiring musicians who are just starting out?
Honesty, like to make things, or to start things, or to approach your craft with honesty. And I guess that for me means to create things that are burning up in your soul, right? Like to really go at it from a place of, not trying to like be something that you just just really create what is inside of you, and say exactly the things that you want to say through music, and in the way that your soul is asking you to release them, not conforming to the rules that have been set. Because I think I have learned that there are always exceptions to the rule. You know, you may think like, oh, but this does not get done in this way. But if it really is burning in you that it should be this way, and especially now, don't you think, Nemo? Like, I feel like with all the platforms and with all the different ways in which music or even art can be approached, or the different ways we have to share it now and to make it, I think now is the time to really be honest, and we'll have a platform, whatever it is that we create, if it's, you know, with honesty, we'll have a platform. And I guess that's maybe the thing we have to ask ourselves: is this really burning inside of me, or is it just kind of like, oh, I wish, you know, I want to be an artist, I want to be famous, I want to, like, you know, allow it to burn inside. And I think that's how you know if this is what you should be doing. If not, you know, probably should not be doing it.
What is a piece of music advice that you would give to yourself 5 years ago?
I would have said, start setting up your own home music studio. Because there's going to be this virus. You're going to be stuck at home doing a lot of live streams.
What is something you want to quit in the next 3 months?
Well, this bad habit of saying yes to everything, I guess, without taking account, or I guess just really being more realistic about my time, especially because, you know, lately I feel like there's just been so many things to process, like to not undermine the need for time just to live life, you know. And so then, because I don't really have any, you know, of the common bad habits. Like, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't eat sugar. But that was so general. I don't know why.
No, that's good.
But you know what I mean? Like, usually when somebody asks, you know, a bad habit, I think of those things. But I think that's something I really want to work on, because it's, and also I think, which I may be doing it now, but I want to quit jumping in too soon to talk after somebody is done talking. That's a bad habit.
What is something you have started learning, building, or changing in the last, I'll say 3 to 6 months, because we've been in quarantine, that you are excited about continuing?
Well, I started taking dance lessons.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, contemporary dance from a friend via Zoom. So it's kind of it's hard. I took some dance lessons before in real person, or in real person, in
olden times.
Yes, exactly. During the old times. And that's something I want to continue doing, because I want to incorporate dance in one of my videos.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it's something I've always liked. I think ever since I was a little girl, but my parents, you know, I grew up with, we weren't financially, you know, able, and so my parents put me in piano lessons, and you know, and that was it. Like, that's all they could afford. Plus, I mean, extracurricular activities in Mexico were not a thing. You know, you had one thing that you did extracurricular.
Yeah.
And so, more dancing in my life.
When you were starting out with your music, what is one of the most important changes you made to actually start writing music, performing, etc.?
Yeah, I think it was moving to California. Yeah, that was one of the most important change. I was living in Michigan, and I moved to California with with the commitment or the decision that I was not going to take any job that wasn't music related. In part because I didn't have a social security number, like, or I didn't have like a, I was undocumented at the time. And so that was one. And two, I really wanted to make music. I was on my way out of this country. I was living in Michigan, and I said I do not want to live like this anymore as an undocumented person. I'm gonna go back to Mexico where I can maybe continue my education, because I got a music degree in piano and in recording technology, but I couldn't really use it. Like, I was getting offered to teach at a school. I couldn't do that. You can't teach kids if you're undocumented.
Right.
They do a background check. Things were very different in Michigan, and so I felt like more limited there. And especially because I didn't come out of the shadows with anybody. I had not come out of this state, or I wouldn't tell anybody. I think that also made me less prone to get help, or to get resources for undocumented people. There was no such culture there of, and so I said, I'm going to go back to Mexico. But then, long story short, I end up in San Francisco. It's a long story. But when I moved here, I said, okay, but the only reason if the only reason I'm going to stay in this country is if I can actually, work in the field that I want to work. And because if not, I'm out. I came with this, like, I have nothing to lose attitude. And I think that's probably what opened all the doors, because I had no fear. If something didn't work out, my plan B was very, very strict or very clear, right? I'm going back to Mexico. It was painful, obviously, because at this point I had already been living in the States, more than about a decade. And so it was painful to leave, because I knew that leaving meant probably was never going to be able to come back to the States. And I have a lot of family, I have a lot of friends, but life has its mysterious ways of working. And it's almost like, I was supposed to be in the Bay Area, because I had never felt as, what's the word? I guess, accomplished, I guess you could say. And not just accomplished, not just in my career, but just in my soul. And I guess it's also when you feel like you belong, and when you feel like you can be yourself, because it was not until I came to California that I started to come out of the shadows. I started to express and share with people who I was. There were many people like me. And so then this was also instrumental and influential to start doing music full time, and to just sort of liberate me. I mean, when you can be yourself, it's one of the most liberating feelings. And if you feel liberated, then you can start creating in ways that are honest too, right? Speak of honesty. And so I was writing exactly what I wanted to write about, exactly in the language that I wanted to write about. And again, I think this also ties in with the question of an advice, or that, because in my own experience, I wasn't thinking like, oh, should I write in English? I'm in the United States, I wrote in Spanish, and I had people that did not speak a word of Spanish come up and tell me, we don't understand a word you say, and yet we find it beautiful, or we found it inspiring, or you made me think of the time I spent with my mom, or, things like that. And so that's how I knew. So that change, coming to California, was a big life changer for me, musically speaking too, because that was the original inspiration for coming. Well, not the original, because I came here to live with my partner at the time. So that was the original inspiration. I wanted to be close to him. But I came sort of on that condition, for myself, that I had to do music. something that I was passionate about. You know, I needed to be myself. For putting up with my... Yo cantinfleo mucho, Nemo. You know, cantinflas.
Leo.
Ay, Dios.
Hace mucho que no escuchaba eso.
Sí. That
Cantinfleo.
should be... You know what? I'm going to change the answer to my question. That's the bad habit I want to break.
Dejar de
No
cantinflear.
cantinflear. Sí, dejar de cantinflear. Ya está. Edítalo, por favor. Are you going to edit this? Poor people.